The Portuguese Case Study Area is called Vale do Sousa. It is near the city of Porto, about 50 kilometers inland. We have about 89% eucalypt stands, pure eucalypt stands, and then we have some 10% of mixed stands with maritime pine and eucalyptus, and then just some residual areas with chestnuts, sweet chestnuts, and other species, riparian species along the rivers. It is a very heterogeneous landscape. It is a little hilly, so there are some slopes in the area. You can find small villages inside the forests.
So traditionally, forest management planning provided directives to the forest owners, and so it was people who had technical expertise. They told forest owners what to do with their land. So that was the traditional approach. Our goal is to do something different, because rather than providing directives, we ask people what do they want out of their forests. And our answer is based on what they would like to have, what ecosystem services they would like to provide. Would they like to provide timber? Are they interested in getting revenues, provide recreation opportunities? So that's the major difference between traditional management planning and the approaches we have been working on and developing within ALTERFOR.
The people who work in forestry in our case study area are mainly old people or getting older, and they are all of them, most of them, small-scaled forest owners. So they have just some very small areas with forestry, and when you look at them together, it is very difficult to manage at a landscape level.
And if you work with areas, for example, like in the case of Vale do Sousa, where you have over 380 owners, that's a very important aspect, because if we want a joint management plan, we really need to have a consensus built between all these forest owners, all these stakeholders, in order to have a plan that is acceptable. So that's a major concern within ALTERFOR, to not only conduct research, to develop the best information, develop the best, most efficient plans, but guarantee that they will not be in a set of documents in a drawer, but that will be really implemented in the ground.
Sr. António, que condições é que gostaria de ter para fazer uma melhor gestão florestal aqui assim na sua propriedade?
As condições eram, se fosse algo mais, eu acho que o Estado devia de incentivar, não é? Dar ajuda a quem limpa os terrenos e mantém os terrenos organizados, não é? O que não acontece, e isto é um esforço, quando se chega a cortar a madeira, uma parte fica em limpezas e depois sujeito a, se houver um incêndio, fica sem nada, não é?
Acha que se juntasse aos seus vizinhos e organizassem de alguma maneira a proteção contra os incêndios, isso seria melhor?
Isso era claro que era melhor, porque já em 2011 eu defendi ali, eu e o homenzinho que faz parte da Proteção Civil da Câmara. Tenho a agradecer a ele, porque já foi de madrugada. Se não fôssemos nós, os bombeiros quase que pouco ou nada fizeram, não é? E se não fôssemos nós, por ali abaixo, nas extremas, junto ao Aceiro, do Aceiro, que é uma zona que está limpa, de proteção já à mata. Que eu deixei aquilo sem plantar, que é para proteger a mata e defender melhor o incêndio em caso, quando ele vem, não é? E se for possível, há alturas em que não é possível, não é?
Alguma vez pensou em plantar outra espécie que não o eucalipto?
Não, nunca pensei, porque não é rentável. Se tivesse metido aqui pinho ou carvalho em 2005, tinha de ficar tudo destruído. E não teria rentabilidade nenhuma disto.
Okay, I don't know if it's possible to see, but in this map, the place we are right now is about here, Penafiel. Here is the Douro River, and south of the Douro River we also are in the municipality of Castelo de Paiva. These yellow colors or green colors represent the four forest intervention zones that were created by our Forest Owners Association. A forest intervention zone is a process that has to start by the voluntary initiative of private forest owners. And if in a certain area the forest owners represent at least 50% of the forest area in that zone, they can establish a forest intervention zone. And the idea of the forest intervention zone is that for this forest area, where the forest, at least half of the forest owners agree, they can have common forest management plans and other sorts of joint forest management operations. And so our main task is to work with these forest owners so that they can develop forms of joint forest management, because individually they cannot solve their problems and to do the proper forest management. So our task is to support them to work together so that they can protect their forests and improve the way they manage the forest.
Our arguments are very simple. You don't want to manage your areas, you don't have time, you don't know the limits. Only one man, they are in the cities, in Lisbon or Porto, you know, because it was from the family and they don't live here. And most of the time they want it. We say, okay, we take care of your land, there is no problem. We do some interventions, we do some management, and we give you a rent. So you don't have anything to win if you let that abandon. Let's do some forest management and you received a rent. Let me just show you the landscape and to see the difference between managed forest and the other one at this far, you know, just to see. The problem of neighborhoods that we have here, it's completely abandoned areas. We have a problem of scale, small parcels, and that small parcels with no management. So if you do a big investment, like 2,000 euros per hectare to invest in new plantation, you see that if it came forest fire, because your neighbor doesn't manage those areas, you have a big problem. So you do a large investment and it burns because your neighborhood doesn't do anything in their parcel. So that is a huge problem here in this area, and it's very interesting to think about landscape. In Navigator case, we must do our job to do linked areas, rented or leased another area, linked to get scale, to get the area and till the streets, until some discontinuity that exists, that we could invest, don't have any problems with forest fires. But this is the major problem here in Vale do Sousa. It's the small scale and the abandoned areas. It's a problem that we have.
Okay, here we are at one of the brigades of forest sappers of our association, which is headed by Mr. Francisco. And the working that they are doing here right now is the typical work that our brigades of forest fire do throughout here, which is fuel management. They are cutting the bushes and the small trees that grow in the middle of the bigger trees in order to reduce the risk of forest fire, and also in order to fulfill the regulations that exist in this country, especially when the forest is close to roads or which is the case right here, or close to houses.
ALTERFOR exists because of climate change, because of other ecosystem services that nowadays are much in demand. So we have to have a broader view of forestry. So with the new information that we are trying to gain through ALTERFOR, we can help the forest owners to see other ways of managing their forests. And hopefully in this way, keeping the economic viability of their holdings, we hope also to provide other ecosystem services other than wood.